Magik is going through it in this series. Her and Danny are damn near on the outs. She's dealing with this whole Liminal thing. And now she needs to figure out whether the society that Danny's working for is even on the up and up. If they're a society, they're never on the up and up. Support the comic book industry by visiting your LCS. My name is Dorian. This is SCM Comics. We continue our coverage of Magik. With number 8. Our story starts off on the high roller in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we see a guy proposing to his soon-to-be wife. Maybe, because after this, she might want to rethink this. All of a sudden, we see a step disc in Magik silhouette, and it looks menacing. She crashes through like the pod that they're in, and Lady just screams Eddie, and Magik's like, "Congrats, you two, through the good and bad, right?" And she goes out the other side with Eddie. So they're falling through the air and they're going through different step discs. And Eddie, he ain't no slouch. Like he pulls out a strap. It looks like a skull, but I guess it's a strap. And he starts busting at Magik. Magik's like, "I can't believe you busting at me like this. Like, are you serious?" And they go through a step disc. Half his legs are through one, while she pushes his body through another. Now, this doesn't cut him in half. Like, he has both his legs and both his feet. But it's Crocs. Crocs are going. So they finally land on the ground, and Magik, holding her soul sword, is like, "So, am I invited to the wedding?" And he's just like, "Let me go." So Liminal and Danny are there too, and Liminal's like, "Why are we wasting our time with this dude? Like, do you really think he knows the location of the quill?" "I'm sorry, it's just not any quill. It's called the Zosmos quill." So Magik's like, "The society has intel that these people know where the quill is." And then Liminal's like, "Do you really trust her?" So Magik's like, "Look who's talking." Now, I don't agree with the woman's means, but if this is the only way to get Kyle back, then this is what we need to do. So Liminal's like, this gem that's on the quill can modify both the physical and metaphysical. But there's no reason to get the quill back, because even if you do this, the boy's soul's gone. It's dead. And once you get me out of here, he's just going to be a dead husk. So he's using his powers to get visual aid, but then the bindings that the lady put on him after she ripped out his heart kick in, and all of a sudden he's like, "Ow, that hurt." And the Magik's like, "So, was that little monologue worth all that pain?" So the Magik's like, "I know Kyle's still in there." And the Liminal's like, "Really? You like me?" So as he turns to the dude, is like, "All right, it's time to get him to talk." And then Danny's like, "We interrogated a lot of these dudes. None of them were talking." And Magik's like, "Yeah, well, we're going to use a different strategy this time." So then she makes a step disc and she reaches in there and she goes, "See this worm? It's going to burrow its way into your head until it gets your conscious thoughts. And then you're not going to be able to discern what is up from down." And I heard it's very painful. So then she goes, "Open up." So the Liminal interrupts and goes, "How creative." And she turns around and is like, "You got a better idea? Enlighten me." So they start arguing. All of a sudden, Danny goes, "Hey, the guy is actually spilling his guts out, because of your empty threat." And then Magik goes, "That wasn't empty." So then we cut to the headquarters of the Scarlet Eye. I guess that's the organization that they've been pretty much shaking down. So once they get there, Danny and Ileana are still having their arguments with each other. But while that's going on, Liminal is writing something on the wall. Matt turns around and is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing, just waiting for you guys to in your conversation." So she's like, "What do you think, I'm stupid?" And she grabs his hand and he goes, "I wasn't writing anything." She goes, "Whatever. Danny, are you ready to go? Let's go." So they teleport in there, and it's a factory, and they're like, "All right, we need to find the quill." And Liminal's like, "This is way too easy." And Ileana's like, "Shut up. We're doing this. You ready, Danny?" It's like, "Let's go." And then Liminal's like, "You trust me?" They both go, "No." So these dudes seem normal, but as soon as they drop down and touch them, all of a sudden they start dissolving, and Magik's like, disgusting. And to Liminal's credit, it was a trap, and they walked right into it. There's a hallucination going on, and they don't know what up from down is. Almost like what Magik threatened the dude with. So they try to fight these monsters. And when Magik starts running, all of a sudden she trips, drops a sword, and just missed this dude coming down with a cleaver. And then Danny, she shoots her arrows, and it goes right through everybody, and it seems like it doesn't hurt them. So then Danny's like, "All right, we got to push through this." And then Magik's like, "No, we need to regroup." And then they start arguing again with each other, to the point to where they get punched by one of the monsters. So Liminal tells Magik she needs to slow down and make them play her game. So she uses a magical spell, and it momentarily works on the monster. So the alien's like, look, Danny, you used to be the leader of New Mutants. I'll follow your lead. Let me know what you want to do. But then Danny's like, this is your gig. Magic's your thing, so you tell me what you want to do. And again, they start arguing again. So Liminal steps in again. It's like, here's an idea. Why don't you block their line of sight? So Magik puts up a whole bunch of step discs between them and the monsters, and then they have a little bit of time to talk. So the Magic's like, what's our disconnect? Like, why can't we operate with each other anymore? So they start talking some more, and they're still trying to come up with something. Finally, Liminal interrupts us like, hey, I got an idea. We need to mess up their own reality. Well, my biggest fear is being trapped in my own dimension. So he's like, Danny, you think you could create that Mirage? And she's like, you see what I can do. So that's what she does. She creates the Mirage of Liminal's dimension, and we see that all these dudes are just normal dudes now. They all damn near got automatic weapons and knives, but they're just normal dudes. And one by one, Magik starts picking them all off. And she looks sinister as hell. Like, you could tell she tapped in to the Dark Child, and she's like, you're wasting air. So she continues to just pick them all off, even though they try to run away, until the only one that's left is a dude that looks like he's straight out of Scarface. And she's like, hi there. So obviously this dude just passes out, and they're like, well, he's not going to be much help. So all of a sudden, Danny just starts opening up to Ileana, and she's like, you said I was a leader of the New Mutants. Well, I didn't much feel like a leader, and I felt like when I was leading the team, I wasn't doing a really good job. So, and she's even crying. And then Ileana's like, look, I was there, and you did a fantastic job. They hug, and now they seem like they're back on the same page. So Liminal's like, I'm glad everybody's back on good terms. Do you guys trust me now? They both go no at the same time, and they snort and go jinx. So yeah, they're back on the same page. So Ileana catches Liminal trying to sneak something, and she's like, take 3 steps forwards, and you make us take 4 steps back. So then they start arguing, but then they get to a door, and I was like, I think what we're looking for is behind here. They open it up, and they see this dude, and he almost has like a Professor X helmet on, and it's got all kinds of wires. And he's like, no, you guys can't be here. This can't be real. Like, how'd you get past my illusion? And he's holding a quill, and they take his helmet off. So this dude's making no sense. And so Danny's like, well, it's a long shot, but when we try to create a psychic illusion, maybe a change of scenery might change his ranting. So that's what they do, and it actually starts to talk and make sense, and we come to find out that all these guys are defected from the same society that Danny's a part of. So Liminal's like, I told you. They sent you on a wild goose chase. That quill isn't going to save Cal. They just wanted you to do their dirty work. And all of a sudden, we see that this guy gets shot in the head. And they also shot the quill too. So a really good shot. And then on the last page, we see it's a society, and they're there not only to take out the defectors, but also now take out Danny, Ileana, and Liminal. So again, I ask, who's the real bad guy? Is it Liminal, or is it the society that Danny works for?